Alright guys, I did not talk loud enough in the last video. I'm very sorry. I was trying to be quiet because my girlfriend and son are sleeping and they are again. So we're going to move on to the other 5. So I think I touched base a little bit about the Bronco 2. I can't remember if I did or not because it was like a week ago when I did it and I just edited the video. So Bronco and then Bronco 2s, the Bronco 2s were a lot shorter wheelbase, a lot smaller, kind of like a Ford Ranger almost, but with a 2-door. Pretty similar wheelbase to a Jeep, but I think a Jeep CJ5 would be about similar to that. Maybe it was a little bit longer than the CJ5, but so moving on to number 4, which would be, is what I have, is a Ford Ranger. And these things are pretty much everywhere. And I would try to get one in 95 or older just because, 1, I like the square body look, and 2, you would have the same suspension as the Broncos did. So, and then of course you can get them in a 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. I've seen some people convert the 2-wheel drives into 4-wheel drives, and I haven't really figured out how they do it yet, but I'm assuming they take parts off of Jeeps, because that's what I did for mine. Front axle swap, I took a TJ axle and I put it in my Ranger. So I'm assuming that's what people are doing, because you can find a Jeep with a 4-cylinder. I mostly look for the ones that have the straight 6s in them, but I have looked at a few that were 4-cylinders, and I would consider it, but it would just be, I wouldn't modify it. It would just be completely stock, and for what I would be using it for. But you can off-road ones with 4 cylinders, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the Ford Ranger, let's see what we can find. And my Facebook is stupid, because if I type in Ranger, it comes up with a Polaris Ranger, which is a side-by-side, and that's not what I'm looking for. So here we go. 94, you're spending a little bit on this one, but it is rust-free. It is an automatic, but let's see if I, yeah, right here. See? Ford Ranger. This one's an extended cab. Is it a short bed? I think it is. Yeah. And it's got the 4-liter V6 automatic. And then they made these all the way up until like 2011. So this one's a 2011. This one's about 5, but this one's also 2-wheel drive. Let's see if I can find one. I think there was a Jeep one up here. Yeah, here we go. Here's a Jeep one. 97, 4-liter, 4-wheel drive. Has high mileage, but it's $3,000 and it looks pretty good. So, and there is the price, so I'm not lying to you guys. So, yeah. And then you got one that's built, and then you got a 2-wheel drive old one that's, is it a dually? It looks like a dually. I have seen 2-wheel drive dualies, Rangers. I guess that Ford made them that way. I don't know why they made them that way. And then they had a 4-cylinder powering them, so not too sure on why. it looks like these have gone up in price a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's gone up too terribly much. Yeah, like this one here's 2-wheel drive. That's $950. So I mean, you can find them pretty reasonable. They're everywhere. They are. They're like everywhere. Because you can't kill them. The motors are too good. So I think this one's 12 and it's decently already painted. I don't know why it's 12, but 4-liter again, and it's a 94, so that would be not really a straight axle, but you could convert it to a straight axle. I do like the paint color on this. I do gotta say it. I might do my Ranger that way. So yeah. Seems like it's already built. It's got the TVA, TV, whatever I think it is, in the front. That some people hate, some people like. I would have to. I mean, my F-150 has one, and that seems to be pretty good off-road. I haven't taken it off-road like extreme, but I've seen people off-road them, and they seem pretty good. The only downfall I think that they really have with them is that they droop. I mean, like when you're like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but like I know when they droop down, you get more of the sidewall. So, but that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I would have to off-road it so I could give you my reviews on them. Moving on to number 3. So number 3, can't remember what I did. Yes, number 3 is the Jeep Grand Cherokees, and I found a few. I was gonna say that you can't get these in a manual, but I did some research and I found a few online that I would like, and they did make them in a manual, but they left them towards the older ones. Like, so I would say ZJ and WJ, but nobody's gonna know the difference. But the ZJs they did in the manual, and they did it very few of them, so it's very hard to find them in a manual. But you can manual swap it from other stuff that also had the straight sixes in them. So like, here's one for $800, completely stock. So it's probably gonna need work, but it's got the straight 6 in it. So that's a WJ. So these ones you're probably gonna find a lot more of, is what I've noticed. Here's one for 4 that's already lifted. So I mean, like, you could get that and have some fun with it, and then do some upgrades to it if you want to, depending on what you want to do. Here's a ZJ. So the ZJs were more squared, the WJs are rounded. If I can find an outside picture that is good enough, which there's not. That one's 65 anyways. So here's one for 2, and I'll show you, kind of give you an idea of the front end. This one has the wheel off in the picture, but that's the only picture that the guy has of the front. So ZJs, the Grand Cherokees came in with the straight 6, and they came in with the V8 engine. I want to say it's the 5.2, and I think later then it came to 5.8, I think. But I think 5.2 is more correct, if I'm thinking of it right. So you can go with the V8 option if you want the power. I'd go with the straight six because I prefer the torque over the power, but however you guys want to do it. So those are the two that I would get, either the WJ or the ZJ. And then obviously after the other one, after the WJs, I don't really know what they call them, but now the newer Grand Cherokees are all independent SUVs, so that's going to be not very good off-road, but you could if you wanted to, and I would say good luck making it work and not having a headache of things breaking. So yeah, ZJ, WJ, here's another ZJ that's pretty cheap. So, I mean, you can get them pretty cheap. Here's another WJ that's, decently cheap. So, moving on to number 2, which is kind of the brother of the Grand Cherokee, and that would be the Cherokee. And I'm talking about the XJ Cherokees. So they made these from, I want to say, the late 80s all the way till the early 2000s. So they're everywhere. You can get them in a manual, you can get them in a 4-door, you can get them in 2-door. The 2-doors are a little bit harder to find. So, of course, I say they're hard to find, and I find one. So there's that one. That's decently priced. This one is also pretty decently priced, $25. That's pretty cheap. I think these have gone up in price since the last time I looked at them, because I used to find these for about $1,000 online, and I think now I can't find anything under probably 2,000. So that one's stock. You could upgrade that, and you can find a lot of these already modified and lifted and stuff. So like this one's lifted by what I can tell. Let's see if the guy says. It is a 5-speed, so that would be cool. It started his life as 2-wheel drive, so he converted this to 4-wheel drive. So that one's 85. I don't know if that's really good to show you. I mean, this one's good. This one's 35. Already built a little bit, so you can buy these arbitrarily built already, because they're just everywhere and a lot of people modify them. So moving on to, was that number 2? Number 3? That was number 3, right? Nope, that was number 2. And then number 1, well, before we go off into the number 1, so the Grand Cherokee for number 3 and the Cherokees for number 2, they're unibodied. So I have heard that people off-road them and they have twisted the body on them. To me, it's very hard to, because they are unibody, because that would mean the whole body twisted, so would have buckled and stuff. So yeah, and they're leaf sprung in the rear. You can do a 4-link in the rear. But other than that, I think they're cheap and decently capable off-road, and you're gonna find a whole bunch of them for a reasonable price. And you can do very easy mods to do stuff to them, and they'll never die because they got the 4-liter. So moving on to number one is obviously everybody's gonna know. It is a Wrangler. It is a Jeep. It is a Ford. It is a Ford. It is a Jeep Wrangler, and I own one. Like, I don't want you to limit yourself to just this Wrangler, but I noticed particular for this Wrangler, they are a lot more cheaper, easier. You're gonna have problems with them because it's Jeep and it's a Wrangler. So, but for number one, it would have to be the Jeep Wrangler YJ, which was from 87 to 95. So you can have fun with them. They're convertible. I don't know. There's a lot of good things about them. Not the fact that they're convertible. You can take the doors off, which isn't even really a bonus either, because you can take the doors off of anything else I just said. So, if I type and talk, which I can't. So, here, like, these ones are obviously a little rusty around the edges. That one's rusty. That one's rusty. That one looks like it's been sitting, but it looks decent enough. This one looks good. You can buy these already built. Here's one. It's an 87. I have an 87, and I prefer the look of the square headlights. Square headlights. I do know that they changed the roll bar in them later in the year. So mine has a sport roll bar, so it doesn't go over the back seats all the way to the back. It goes like that. So, and all the CJs and everything past that, below that, would also have a sport roll cage. So, I like to look at the sport roll cage more because it just looks nicer, but it doesn't matter once you have the top on or soft top or whatever. This one's pretty reasonable. It is a 4-cylinder, but it already has really good, like, axles and stuff already underneath it. It's already built. So, yeah, I like the sport roll cages a lot better because then they later went to the ones that go all the way over because, apparently we hear about passengers now. So, let me find one. Yeah, here's a 95. This one kind of looks like mine. I wish I had a better picture of the cage, but I think you guys will kind of get the idea. So, it kind of goes all the way towards the back there. So, this one is 6, and this one happens to have a 5-cylinder Mercedes diesel engine in it. So, you can do a lot of stuff with them, these ones. And they're cheaper, they're affordable, and those are the top 5 that I would lean towards looking for and buying. I think the one I put at number 1, depending on where you live, it may be easier to find a clean one, it may be harder to find a clean one, but definitely hard to find a clean one where I live because they put salt on the road, and a lot of people drive these in the salt and in the winters because they think they're great because they have 4-wheel drive. So, moving on from that, I will see you guys in the next video, and I don't know what that one's going to be about quite yet, because it's still winter. Haven't been able to get over to my parents' house to do some stuff, and everything's just stored away anyways. So, yeah. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, night, whatever. Goodbye.